Lisa Morgan's first thought when she woke was that something small and furry was chewing on her hair. Her second thought was that she had no idea where she was. She opened her eyes slowly. The ceiling above her was curved and made of some material that glowed with soft blue light. Definitely not her quarters aboard the exploration vessel Neptune's Dawn. Definitely not anywhere human-made. The tugging on her hair continued. Lisa turned her head and found herself staring at 3 pairs of enormous golden eyes. The creatures attached to those eyes were small, roughly the size of house cats, covered in silver-gray fur. They had pointed ears, short muzzles, and tiny, sharp teeth that were currently clamped onto strands of her dark hair. "Finally, you have arrived for training," one of them said in heavily accented Galactic Common. The voice was high-pitched and excited. Lisa sat up quickly, too quickly. Her head spun and she had to close her eyes until the dizziness passed. When she opened them again, the 3 small aliens were sitting in a neat row, watching her with intense focus. "Who are you?" Lisa asked. Her throat felt dry and her words came out rough. "I am Kiva," said the one in the middle, puffing out her small chest. That is Dax. We are cubs. You are our new trainer." Lisa blinked. She looked around the room more carefully now. It was circular with cushioned surfaces covering most of the floor and walls. It reminded her of a nest or a den. Soft light came from panels in the ceiling. There was one door currently closed. "I'm not a trainer," Lisa said. "I'm a lieutenant commander in the human exploration fleet. My ship had engine problems near the system. We sent out a distress call and then—" She trailed off, trying to remember. There had been an explosion, alarms, her crew scrambling to evacuate. Then nothing. Yes, Kiva said, waving a small paw dismissively. "Your ship broke. Grandfather brought you here. You were sleeping for 3 days. We watched you every day. We knew you were the one." "The one for what?" Lisa asked. All 3 cubs jumped up and down with excitement. "Our trainer, our teacher, the one who will show us the way of warriors." Before Lisa could respond, the door opened. An elderly alien walked in. He was 2, but much larger than the cubs, standing nearly 6 feet tall when upright. His fur was more gray than silver, and his golden eyes held a depth of experience that made Lisa instinctively straighten her posture. "I am," he said. His voice was deep and calm. "You may call me grandfather, as the cubs do. I am captain of this vessel. Welcome aboard the—" Lisa stood up, grateful that her legs supported her weight. "Thank you for rescuing me, Captain. My crew, are they safe?" "All 17 humans from your ship are safe," assured her. "Most are already on transport vessels heading back to human space. We kept only you at the request of these 3. "I don't understand," Lisa said. "Why would they request me?" Settled onto one of the cushioned areas, his movements careful and deliberate. The cubs immediately rushed to sit near him. "Among my people, the warrior cubs must choose their own trainer. It is an old tradition. The cubs select someone they sense has the qualities needed to teach them not just how to fight, but how to live as warriors." "But I'm human," Lisa protested. "I don't know anything about your culture. I've never even met a before today." "That is precisely why you are perfect," said. A sad smile crossed his muzzle. "Lieutenant Commander Morgan, my people are dying, not in body but in spirit. We have been warriors for thousands of years. We are strong. We are fierce. We are feared across many star systems, but we have forgotten what it means to be more than just fighters." He gestured to the 3 cubs who were listening with serious expressions. "These 3 are orphans. Their parents died defending a colony from raiders 6 months ago. Since then, 17 different warriors have tried to train them. All 17 failed. The cubs rejected each one." "Why?" Lisa asked. Little Dax spoke up for the first time. His voice was softer than the others. "They only wanted to teach us to kill. They said warriors must be hard, must show no weakness, must seek battle and glory." He looked down at his small paws. "But our parents did not die for glory. They died protecting families. They died so others could live. That is different." Lisa felt something tighten in her chest. She knelt down to be at eye level with the cubs. "How old are you?" "I am 4 cycles," Kiva said proudly. "Is 4 cycles also? Dax is only 3 cycles." Lisa did quick math in her head. If cycles were similar to Earth years, these cubs were young children. They had watched their parents die and then been passed between trainers who didn't understand what they needed. "When your rescue pod was brought aboard," continued, "the cubs sensed something in you. They insisted on watching over you while you recovered. They said you smelled like protection and sadness. They said you understood loss." Lisa closed her eyes briefly. She did understand loss. Her own parents had died when she was young, killed in a transport accident. Her grandfather had raised her. He had been a soldier once, but he taught her that real strength came from knowing when not to fight. "I'm not qualified for this," Lisa said quietly. "I'm a ship's officer, not a teacher, not a warrior trainer." "The Cubs believe otherwise," said. "In our culture, when Cubs choose, we honor that choice. They have chosen you, Lisa Morgan. Will you accept?" Lisa looked at the three small faces watching her with desperate hope. Kiva, bold and fierce but searching for purpose. Cautious and thoughtful, needing guidance. Dax, small and empathetic, wanting to understand what his parents died for. "What happens if I say no?" Lisa asked. His expression grew somber. Cubs without trainers become lost. They either grow too violent, seeking death in battle to join their parents, or they grow too timid, unable to function in our society. Either way, they fail to become what they could be. "And if I say yes?" "Then you stay aboard this vessel and teach them," said simply. "Teach them whatever you believe they need to know. We will provide for all your needs. When they complete their training, you will be free to return to human space with our gratitude and alliance." "How long does training take?" "That depends on the trainer and the students," said. "It could be months, it could be years." Lisa sat back on her heels. This was insane. She was a human officer, not an alien child counselor. She had no business trying to train warrior cubs in a culture she didn't understand. But she looked at Dax again, the smallest one, and remembered being small and alone, and desperately needing someone to show her that the world still made sense after tragedy. "I need to contact my superiors," Lisa said. "I can't just disappear without explanation." "Of course," agreed. "We will arrange communication immediately. And I need supplies from human space. Books, educational materials, things from Earth." "It will be done." Lisa took a deep breath and let it out slowly. "Then I accept. I'll train them, but I do this my way, human way. If that's not what you want, tell me now." Smile was genuine this time. "That is exactly what we want." The three cubs erupted in excited chirps and bounded over to Lisa. Rubbing against her, Lisa's first week as a trainer was a complete disaster. She started the way she had been trained in the human fleet. Wake at dawn, physical exercises, drills, structure, and discipline. The cubs hated every minute of it. Kiva growled through the morning runs, questioned every instruction. Dax simply sat down and refused to move during the third day's training session. "This is boring," Kiva declared, her silver fur bristling with frustration. "Where is the combat training? Where are the weapons? Where is the warrior teaching?" Lisa wiped sweat from her forehead. This training room was too warm for human comfort. "You're too young for weapons. We're building your foundation first. Discipline, endurance, teamwork." "We do not need human military training," said. His tone was polite but firm. "We need to learn to fight, to protect, to be warriors like our parents." "Your parents would want you to survive long enough to become warriors," Lisa shot back. "That means learning control first." "You do not understand," Dax said quietly. "You are not." The words stung because they were true. Lisa dismissed them for the day and sat alone in the training room, wondering what she had gotten herself into. That evening, Grandfather found her in the observation deck, staring out at the stars. "The cubs are upset," he said, settling beside her. "I know," Lisa admitted. "I'm doing this all wrong. I thought I could just apply human training methods, but they're not human. They're not even close." "Perhaps that is the point," said. "They do not need another warrior to train them. They have rejected 17 of those. They need something different, something human." "But I don't know what that is," Lisa said. "I'm just making them miserable." Was quiet for a moment, then he asked, "How did you learn to be strong, Lisa Morgan? Who taught you?" Lisa thought about her grandfather, the old man who had taken in a grieving child and somehow turned her into someone capable and confident. "My grandfather," she said. "He taught me everything important." "And how did he teach you?" "He told me stories," Lisa said slowly. "He would tell me about his life, about the choices he made, about the things he learned. He made me think instead of just obey." "Then perhaps that is what the cubs need," suggested. "Not drills and discipline, but stories and understanding." The next morning, Lisa changed her approach entirely. She found the three cubs waiting in the training room, their expressions wary. Instead of ordering them to run or exercise, she sat down on the floor. "Come here," she said. "I want to tell you about Earth." The cubs exchanged confused glances, but moved closer. "Earth is a," Lisa began. "Do you know what that means?" "High gravity, dangerous predators, harsh environment," recited. He clearly enjoyed showing his knowledge. "Yes," Lisa confirmed. "But it's more than that. Earth taught humans something important. It taught us that the strongest predators aren't always the ones who survive. You know what survives on Earth? The ones who adapt, the ones who work together, the ones who think." She had their attention now. All three cubs were leaning forward, ears perked. "Let me tell you about wolves," Lisa continued. "They're pack animals from Earth. They look a little like you, actually. Silver fur, golden eyes, sharp teeth. Humans feared them for thousands of years." "Because they were strong fighters?" Kiva asked. "Because they were smart hunters," Lisa corrected. "A single wolf couldn't take down large prey, but a pack of wolves working together could take down animals 10 times their size. They succeeded because they cooperated. They had roles. They protected each other." She spent the next hour telling them about Earth's predators, about how lions protected their pride, about how dolphins worked together to herd fish, about how even the fiercest animals on Earth spent more time protecting their families than seeking fights. The cubs listened with complete focus. When she finished, Dax asked, "Is that why you wanted us to train as a team, like Earth's wolves?" "Yes," Lisa said. "Being strong alone is good. Being strong together is better." From that day forward, training changed. Lisa still made them exercise, but now she explained why using examples from Earth. Morning runs became practice in persistence, like human marathon runners. Stretching exercises became lessons in how human martial artists prepared their bodies. When she taught them defensive stances, she told them about her grandfather, a soldier who survived 3 wars. "He told me the best warriors are the ones who come home," Lisa said, demonstrating a blocking position. "Dead heroes can't protect anyone." She taught them through games. She set up obstacle courses and made them compete as teams rather than individuals. She had them solve puzzles together, teaching them that thinking was just as important as fighting. Most importantly, she taught them about choices. "There was a war on Earth," Lisa told them one afternoon. "Humans fought humans over territory and resources. Millions died, cities burned, families were destroyed. Do you know what the survivors learned?" "That they should have fought harder," Kiva guessed. "No," Lisa said. "They learned that war should be the last choice, not the first. They learned that the strongest act isn't always the violent one." "But what if enemies attack?" asked. "What if they threaten those you protect?" "Then you fight," Lisa said firmly. "But you fight smart. You fight with purpose. You don't fight for glory or revenge. You fight to protect and to end the threat as quickly as possible." Not everyone on the approved of Lisa's methods. Commander Thrace, the ship's security chief, made his opinion clear. He was a massive warrior from decades of combat. His fur was dark gray, almost black, and his golden eyes held nothing but contempt when he looked at Lisa. "You make them soft," he growled at her one day in the corridor. "You fill their heads with stories and philosophy. Warriors need strength, not words." "Warriors need wisdom," Lisa countered. "Strength without wisdom is just violence." "And what would a human know about being a warrior?" Thrace sneered. "Your species has only been in space for a few decades. We have been fighting for." "Then maybe it's time to try something new," Lisa said calmly. "Your way produced 17 failed trainers. Maybe that's a sign." Thrace's fur bristled and he took a step closer. Lisa stood her ground. She was barely half his height, but she didn't back down. "You will fail like the others," Thrace said. "And when you do, these cubs will be damaged beyond repair." He walked away, leaving Lisa shaken but determined. 3 weeks into training, Lisa saw the first real progress. She had set up a training exercise where the cubs had to work together to retrieve an object from a high platform. Kiva's first instinct was to try to climb alone. She fell twice. "Help," Lisa called out. "Use your team." And Dax moved to the base of the platform. After a moment of thought, braced himself low. Dax climbed onto his back. Then Kiva climbed onto Dax. The 3 cubs formed a living tower, and Kiva was able to reach the object. When they succeeded, all 3 cubs chirped with triumph. But more importantly, they looked at each other with new understanding. "We did it together," Dax said, amazed. Faster than alone, agreed. Even Kiva looked thoughtful. This is what you meant about packs. Lisa smiled. This is what I meant about strength. That night, the three cubs curled up around Lisa in the den-like room that had become their shared space. Dax's small head rested on her leg. Kiva pressed against her side. His tail wrapped around her ankle. Tell us more about your grandfather, Kiva said sleepily. Tell us about the warrior who chose to come home. So Lisa told them. She told them about a man who saw too much death and decided to teach life instead. About someone who was strong enough to fight, but wise enough to seek peace first. About the person who taught her that protecting something meant understanding its value. The cubs fell asleep listening, their small bodies warm and trusting against her. Grandfather stopped by later and found them like that. You are succeeding, he said quietly. I'm trying, Lisa whispered back, careful not to wake the cubs. But I still don't know if I'm teaching them. The alarm woke Lisa from a dead sleep. Red lights flashed in the den chamber and a harsh sound blared from the speakers. She was on her feet instantly, her training kicking in before her mind fully woke. The three cubs were already awake, their ears flat against their heads, eyes wide with fear and excitement. What is happening? Kiva demanded. Lisa was pulling on her boots when Grandfather's voice came through the communication system. All crew to stations. We have received a distress call from a nearby refugee convoy. Pirates are attacking. We are moving to assist. Lisa's heart raced. Stay here, she told the cubs firmly. Lock the door and don't come out until someone comes for you. But we can help, Kiva protested. No, Lisa said, you're not ready. She left before they could argue further, heading toward the bridge. The shuddered as its engines pushed to maximum speed. Through the windows, Lisa could see other ships joining their formation. The bridge was organized chaos. Crew members worked at various stations while Grandfather stood at the center, his expression grave. Status asked. 3 refugee vessels under attack, the communications officer reported. 16 pirate fighters. They are trying to board the transports. How long until we arrive? 8 minutes. Lisa found a place to stand that was out of the way. She watched the tactical display showing the battle. The pirates were fast and aggressive. The refugee ships were slow and barely armed. People were dying while they raced to help. Commander Thrace stood near the weapons console. He glanced at Lisa with barely concealed contempt. Perhaps the human should return to her cubs, he said. This is not a place for storytellers. Before Lisa could respond, another alarm sounded. This one was different, closer. Breach in Hangar Bay, someone shouted. A boarding pod attached while we were accelerating. How many? Demanded. Scanning shows 3 life forms. Thrace, take a team and handle it, ordered. We cannot allow pirates to compromise the ship while we are heading into battle. Thrace nodded and signaled to 4 other warriors. They headed for the exit at a run. Lisa followed. She didn't have a weapon, didn't have armor, but something felt wrong about this. The pirates had attached a boarding pod to a military vessel in motion. That took skill and either desperation or planning. She reached the hangar bay just as Thrace's team spread out to search. The boarding pod was attached to the far wall, its hatch open and dark. Careful, Lisa called out. It could be a trap. Thrace ignored her. He gestured his team forward, weapons ready. That's when Lisa heard it, a small sound from behind a stack of cargo containers, a sound she knew very well. The chirp of a cub. No, Lisa whispered. She ran past Thrace toward the sound. She found them behind the containers. All 3 cubs, crouched low, trying to look fierce but clearly terrified. They had somehow gotten out of the den and made their way here. What are you doing? Lisa hissed. We wanted to help fight the pirates, Kiva said, but her voice shook. There are no pirates here yet, you foolish, Lisa started to say, but then she heard weapons fire. She looked back and saw 3 figures in dark armor had emerged from the boarding pod. They had waited until Thrace's team was out of position, then struck. 2 of Thrace's warriors were already down. The cubs saw it too. Kiva snarled and started to charge forward. Stop, Lisa commanded, grabbing her. Don't. But they are hurting our crew. Kiva struggled against Lisa's grip. And you will get hurt too if you just run at them, Lisa said. She looked at the situation quickly. Thrace and 2 warriors were pinned behind cover. The pirates had better weapons and better position. If this continued, more would die. Lisa's mind raced. She wasn't a fighter. She was a ship's officer, a navigator, someone who solved problems with computers and calculations. But she had been trained in emergency response, and she had grown up listening to her grandfather's stories about combat. "Listen to me carefully," she told the cubs. "If you want to help, you do exactly what I say, exactly. No improvising, no heroics, understand?" All three cubs nodded. "You are the fastest. I need you to get to that control panel by the far wall. When I signal, hit the emergency vent button. It will fill this area with harmless smoke." "But that will affect Commander Thrace too," pointed out. "Yes, but have better senses than most species. You can fight in smoke. Pirates in armor rely on visual sensors. It evens the field." "What about us?" Kiva asked. "Dax, you are smallest. You are going to crawl through those maintenance tunnels and get to the environmental controls. Turn the gravity in this section down to half. Can you do that?" Dax nodded, his eyes serious. "Kiva, you and I are going to create a distraction." "What kind of distraction?" Kiva asked eagerly. "The kind that makes them think we are more dangerous than we are," Lisa said. She explained her plan quickly. The cubs listened with intense focus. When she finished, Kiva's tail was wagging despite the danger. "This is sneaky," Kiva said. "This is smart," Lisa corrected. "Ready." The cubs moved into position. Lisa counted down silently, then gave the signal. Sprinted along the wall, staying low and using cover. He reached the control panel and slammed his paw on the emergency vent. Thick white smoke began pouring into the hangar. The pirates immediately opened fire in all directions, unable to see their targets. Dax disappeared into a maintenance hatch. 30 seconds later, Lisa felt the gravity decrease. Her feet became lighter. The pirates stumbled, not expecting the change. Now came Lisa's part. She picked up a piece of metal debris and threw it hard against the far wall. It made a loud clang. The pirates turned toward the sound, weapons ready. Kiva threw another piece in a different direction. Then another. Lisa and Kiva moved quickly in the reduced gravity, making noise all around the pirates, never staying in one place. Through the smoke, Lisa could see the pirates getting nervous. They were trained for direct combat, not this confusing harassment. Commander Thrace realized what was happening. Lisa heard him bark orders to his team in language. The warriors began moving, using the smoke and confusion. One pirate went down to claws, then another. The third pirate panicked and ran for the boarding pod. He almost made it, but Kiva had circled around behind him. The little cub jumped at his legs, teeth bared. She was too small to hurt him through the armor, but she tangled his feet. The pirate fell. Before he could recover, Commander Thrace was on him, disarming and restraining him quickly. The fight was over in less than 2 minutes. Thrace looked around the smoke-filled hangar, his expression shocked. "Clear the smoke," he ordered. Hit the vents again, and the smoke began to dissipate. Dax emerged from the maintenance tunnel. Kiva stood proudly over the fallen pirate like a hunter twice her size. Lisa's heart was pounding. The cubs were safe. They had succeeded, but she was also angry. "What were you thinking?" she demanded, gathering the 3 cubs in front of her. "You were supposed to stay in the den. You could have been killed." "But we helped," Kiva said defensively. "You got lucky," Lisa shot back. "This could have gone so wrong. If the pirates had spotted you first, if had been too slow, if any part of that plan had failed." She stopped, taking a breath to calm herself. The cubs looked miserable now, ears drooping. Commander Thrace approached. Lisa expected him to yell at her, to blame her for the cubs being there. Instead, he looked at her with something like respect. "That was clever," he said. "Using the environment against them, creating confusion, that is not how we usually fight." "It's how humans fight when they are outmatched," Lisa said. "We adapt, we think, we don't just charge in." Thrace looked at the cubs, and you 3 followed her orders precisely. "Yes, Commander," they said together. "You worked as a team." "Yes, Commander." Thrace's expression softened slightly. "You fought well, but you should not have been here. A warrior must know when to enter battle and when to stand down." "We wanted to prove we were ready," Kiva said quietly. "Wanting to prove yourself and being ready are different things," Thrace said. "But I will admit, you performed better than I expected." He looked at Lisa. "Your training is unusual, human, but perhaps not useless." It was the closest thing to approval Lisa would get from him. Later, after the cubs were cleaned up and the medical team had checked them for injuries, Lisa sat with them in the den. "You did help today," she admitted. "But you also took a terrible risk. Warriors don't just fight, they assess, they plan, they know their limits." "We are sorry we left the den," Dax said. "I am not sorry we helped," Kiva added stubbornly. Lisa sighed. "I know you want to be brave, I know you want to honor your parents, but Kiva, your parents died protecting others. They would not want you to die trying to prove you are tough." Kiva's ears drooped. "I just want to be strong like them." Arrived at the battle zone to find chaos. 3 massive refugee transport ships drifted in space, surrounded by smaller pirate vessels like predators circling wounded prey. Explosions lit up the darkness as the transport's weak defensive weapons tried to hold off the attackers. Lisa stood on the bridge with the cubs pressed against her legs. Grandfather had allowed them to stay after their performance in the hangar, though Lisa still wasn't sure that was wise. "The lead transport is losing hull integrity," the tactical officer reported. "They have civilians trapped in 3 different sections." "How many ships do we have?" asked. 6 vessels including ours. The pirates number 18 fighters plus 2 larger ships." Commander Thrace growled. "We should strike hard and fast, destroy their command ships, and the rest will flee." "And risk crossfire hitting the refugees?" Shook his head. "No, we protect first, attack second. Assign 2 ships to each transport, create a defensive screen." Lisa listened to the strategy and felt her stomach tighten. It was the right call, but it meant they would be outnumbered at each position. There were fierce fighters, but even they had limits. "The cubs should go to the safe chambers," Thrace said, looking at Lisa. "No," Kiva said firmly. "We want to help defend the ship." "This is not a training exercise," Thrace said. "This is real combat." "Then it is time for real warriors," Kiva replied, lifting her small head high. Thrace looked at Lisa. "It is her decision," said. "She is their trainer." Lisa knelt down to face the 3 cubs. "If I let you help, you follow every order I give. No questions, no arguing, agreed?" "Agreed," all 3 said. "You stay with me at all times. You don't go anywhere or do anything unless I tell you to." "Agreed." "Agreed." Lisa stood and faced. "Assign us to one of the transports. We will help with civilian protection if there are borders." "You are not a combat officer," Thrace pointed out. "No," Lisa agreed. "But I know how to protect people, and these cubs need to learn what they are really fighting for. Not glory, not revenge, protection." Nodded slowly. "Very well. You will go with Team 3 to the transport ship Hopeful Journey. Their shields are failing and they report pirates attempting to board." 20 minutes later, Lisa and the cubs were in a small shuttle with 6 warriors, racing toward the damaged transport. Through the viewport, Lisa could see pirate fighters weaving between the larger ships, firing at anything that moved. The shuttle shook as something exploded nearby. Dax whimpered and pressed closer to Lisa. She put a hand on his head. "Stay calm," she told him. "Fear is normal. What matters is what you do with it." "Were you ever this scared?" Kiva asked. "Yes," Lisa admitted. "When my ship was failing and I thought I would die alone in space. But fear kept me alert, it made me careful, it helped me survive." The shuttle docked with the transport ship roughly. The airlock hissed open and they poured through into chaos. The transport's interior was designed to carry hundreds of refugees. Now those refugees were screaming and running as alarms blared. Families, mostly. Lisa saw adults trying to protect cubs even younger than her students. She saw elderly being helped along by younger ones. She saw fear and panic everywhere. "Pirates breached Section 7, a crew member shouted at them. "We cannot get the civilians out, they are trapped." "Show us," the team leader commanded. They ran through corridors filled with desperate people. Lisa kept the cubs close, one hand on Kiva's shoulder. They passed families huddled in corners, crew members trying to seal damaged sections, medics working on the injured. This was what war really looked like. Not glorious battles and heroic charges, just terrified people trying to survive. They reached Section 7 to find the bulkhead door sealed. On the other side, Lisa could hear the sounds of fighting and screaming. "We need to go in," the team leader said. "But opening this door exposes everyone in there to possible decompression if the hull is breached." "How many civilians?" Lisa asked. Sensors show 42 life signs, 23 are cubs. Lisa felt the 3 small bodies against her legs stiffen. "We have to save them," Dax said quietly. The team leader looked at Lisa. "We will go in. You and the cubs should help evacuate civilians from other sections." "No," Lisa said. "We are coming with you, but I need you to trust my plan." She explained quickly. The team leader looked skeptical but nodded. "We will try it your way. If it fails, we do it mine." They opened the door carefully. Section 7 was a large cargo bay that had been converted to living space. Temporary walls created small family areas. Now those walls were knocked down and chaos reigned. 3 pirates in heavy armor were advancing through the space, weapons ready. They were herding the refugees toward one corner, clearly planning to take hostages. The civilians were families. Parents shielded their cubs with their own bodies. Some tried to fight back with makeshift weapons, but they were no match for armed pirates. Lisa saw one small cub, couldn't have been more than 2 cycles old, crying for her mother. The mother was trying to reach her, but a pirate blocked the way. Kiva saw it too, her whole body tensed, ready to charge. "No," Lisa whispered. "Remember what I taught you, think first." She looked at the layout. The pirates had the civilians trapped in one corner. If the warriors charged in, there would be a firefight with the civilians caught in the middle. Lisa said quietly, "See those support columns? Can you climb them?" Looked up, yes. "Get above them. When I signal, drop something loud but not dangerous. Create a distraction." "Kiva, Dax, I need you to do something very important. See those families? You need to calm them down, tell them help is here. Tell them to be ready to run when I signal." "But we want to fight," Kiva protested. "This is fighting," Lisa said firmly. "Fighting for them means keeping them calm so they can escape. That is the most important job." The cubs moved into position, climbed silently up the support structures. Kiva and Dax crawled along the floor, staying low, reaching the terrified families. Lisa watched Kiva approach a mother with 2 small cubs. The mother bared her teeth, protective and afraid. Then she saw that Kiva was just a cub herself. Kiva whispered something. The mother's expression changed from fear to desperate hope. Dax was doing the same with another family group. Lisa saw him touch his small paw to an elderly's hand in what looked like a gesture of comfort. The warriors spread out, ready to strike when Lisa gave the word. Lisa waited until everyone was in position. Then she gave the signal. Dropped a heavy piece of debris from the ceiling. It crashed down between the pirates and the civilians, making a sound like an explosion. The pirates spun toward it, weapons ready. "Now," Lisa shouted. The warriors struck from 3 directions at once. The pirates were caught completely off guard. They had expected a frontal assault, not an attack from above and both sides. At the same time, Kiva and Dax guided the families toward the exit. "Move, move, quickly but calmly," Kiva called out in her high-pitched voice. The families ran. Lisa helped direct them, making sure the smallest cubs were carried, that the elderly were supported, that no one was left behind. One pirate broke away from the fight and aimed his weapon at the fleeing refugees. Before he could fire, something small and silver crashed into his arm, had dropped from the ceiling onto the pirate's weapon arm, throwing off his aim. The pirate tried to shake off, but Kiva was already there, biting at the pirate's leg joints where the armor was weakest. Dax rushed in and tangled himself in the pirate's feet. The pirate fell. The warriors were on him immediately. Within minutes, all 3 pirates were subdued. All 42 civilians were safe. Lisa did a quick count of the cubs. Kiva had a small cut on her ear. His paw was bruised from landing on the pirate's armor. Dax was trembling but unhurt. "You did it," Lisa said, pulling them close. "You saved them." "We worked together," said, sounding amazed. "Like a pack," Dax added. "Like warriors," Kiva said proudly. The mother with 2 small cubs approached. Her cubs hid behind her legs, peeking out at Kiva with wide eyes. "Thank you," the mother said to Kiva. "You were very brave." Kiva puffed up her small chest. Then she looked at the 2 younger cubs. "I was scared too," she admitted. "But my trainer says being brave means doing the right thing even when you are scared." One of the small cubs came out from behind her mother. "Will you teach me to be brave like you?" Kiva looked up at Lisa. Lisa nodded. "Someday," Kiva told the cub. "When you are older, for now, stay close to your mother. That is the brave thing to do." The team leader approached Lisa. That was good strategy, using the cubs to calm the civilians while we fought. I would not have thought of it. That is because see cubs as warriors in training, Lisa said. Humans see children as symbols of what we are protecting. These three know that now. The battle continued outside, but Section 7 was secure. The refugees were evacuated to safer areas of the ship. Medical teams tended to the wounded. Lisa sat with the three cubs in a quiet corner while they caught their breath. I saw what my parents felt, Dax said quietly. When they protected those families before they died, I understand now. It is not about fighting, said. It is about who you fight for. We are not just warriors, Kiva said. We are protectors. 3 days after the battle, they hosted a gathering of the refugee families. The transport ships had been repaired enough to continue their journey, but before they left, the survivors wanted to thank their rescuers. Lisa stood in the main assembly hall with the cubs beside her. She felt out of place among all the warriors in their formal dress uniforms. She was just a human in a simple fleet jumpsuit. But when the families entered, they didn't go to the warriors first. They came to the cubs. The mother with 2 young cubs approached Kiva first. My cubs ask about you every day, she said. They say they want to be brave like the silver cub who helped save them. Kiva's ears turned pink with embarrassment. I just did what my trainer taught me. More families came forward. An elderly touched head gently. Thank you, young one. You reminded me that even in darkness there is still hope. A father with 3 cubs spoke to Dax. My smallest daughter has nightmares about the pirates, but when she is scared, I tell her about the brave cub who stayed calm and helped everyone escape. It comforts her. Lisa watched the cubs receive the gratitude and saw how it changed them. They stood a little taller. Their eyes held a deeper understanding. This was what being a warrior really meant, not the glory or the fighting, but the knowledge that your actions mattered to real people, that you made a difference in their lives. Grandfather approached after the families had left. The refugees are not the only ones who wish to speak with you, he said to Lisa. Come to the council chamber, bring the cubs. Lisa's stomach tightened with nervousness. She had heard about the council chamber. It was where important decisions were made, where the ship's senior warriors gathered to discuss strategy and policy. She had never been invited there before. The council chamber was circular, with seats arranged in tiers around a central platform. At least 20 warriors were already seated, including Commander Thrace. All eyes turned to Lisa and the cubs as they entered. Please come forward, said from his seat at the highest tier. Lisa walked to the center platform, very aware of how small and human she was in this room full of powerful alien warriors. The cubs pressed close to her legs. We have called this council, began, to discuss the events of the recent battle and their implications for our people. Commander Thrace stood. Lisa braced herself for criticism, for blame about letting the cubs into danger. Instead, Thrace said, I was wrong about the human trainer. The room went silent. I believed her methods were too soft, Thrace continued. I believed she was making the cubs weak with her stories and her human philosophies. I spoke against her training. I doubted her every decision. He looked directly at Lisa. I was wrong. The cubs performed better than warriors twice their age. They thought clearly under pressure. They worked as a perfect team. They understood their mission was protection, not glory. That is what we have failed to teach our own young for generations. Another warrior stood. I watched the security footage from the transport ship. The cubs could have fought the pirates directly. They are trained enough for that. But instead, they prioritized civilian safety. They understood that winning the fight meant nothing if the refugees died. That is wisdom beyond their years. It is wisdom we have lost, an elderly female warrior added. We teach our cubs to be fierce, to be strong, to seek honor in battle, but we do not teach them why battle matters. We do not teach them what they are fighting for. The discussion continued. Warrior after warrior stood and spoke about the difference between the old ways of training and what Lisa had done with the 3 cubs. Finally raised his hand for silence. The question before this council is simple. Do we continue as we have always done, or do we try something new? What are you proposing, grandfather? A warrior asked. I propose we ask Lisa Morgan to expand her training program, said. There are 17 other orphaned cubs aboard the refugee ships. All of them need trainers. All of them need guidance. I propose we invite them to train under the human method. That is unprecedented, someone objected. A human training warriors. Is it more unprecedented than our current situation? Thrace asked. We are a dying culture. Our young know only violence. They fight for fighting's sake. They die in meaningless battles because they seek glory instead of purpose. If we do not change, we will destroy ourselves. The debate went on for over an hour. Lisa stood in the center, trying not to feel overwhelmed. The cubs sat at her feet, listening to everything with serious expressions. Finally called for a decision, all in favor of expanding the training program. Hands went up, not all of them, but more than half, including Commander Thrace. It is decided, said. He looked at Lisa. If you accept, you will become the official trainer for Cubs. You will be given resources, assistance, and full authority to teach as you see fit. What say you, Lisa Morgan? Lisa looked down at Kiva and Dax. They looked up at her with complete trust. I never wanted to be a teacher, Lisa said honestly. I was a ship's officer. I navigated through space. I solved technical problems. I did not know anything about raising children, especially alien children. She paused. But these three taught me something. They taught me that being strong means knowing your purpose. They taught me that real warriors protect, not just fight. They taught me that even a small act of courage can change lives. Lisa took a breath. I will accept, but I have conditions. This program will not just be about combat. It will include teaching about different cultures, about diplomacy, about ethics. The Cubs will learn to think, not just to obey. They will learn that being a warrior means making hard choices, not just swinging weapons. Agreed, said immediately. And I need help, Lisa added. I need who understand your culture to work with me. I need people who can bridge the gap between human philosophy and tradition. I will assist, Thrace said, standing. I may not agree with all your methods, human, but I cannot argue with your results. Others volunteered as well. Senior warriors who had seen too much pointless violence and wanted something better for the next generation. Over the next weeks, the training program took shape. 17 orphaned cubs arrived from the refugee ships. They were wary at first, uncertain about a human trainer. But Kiva and Dax became ambassadors, showing the newcomers that this was something different, something special. Lisa developed a curriculum that mixed human and elements. Morning exercises were still based on Earth predator behavior, but incorporated pack hunting strategies. Combat training focused on defense and protection rather than aggression. History lessons covered both Earth's wars and battles, emphasizing the lessons learned from each. Most importantly, Lisa taught through stories. She told the Cubs about human warriors throughout history, about soldiers who chose to spare enemies, about generals who sued for peace instead of prolonging wars, about people who were strong enough to fight but wise enough to seek alternatives first. Thrace taught traditional warrior skills, but with a new emphasis. He showed the Cubs how their ancestors had been protectors of their clans, not just fighters. He taught them that honor came from service, not from kill counts. Other cultures began to take notice. A delegation from the assembly visited to observe the training. They were impressed by how the Cubs worked together, how they thought before acting, how they understood the weight of their responsibilities. This is unusual, the ambassador said to Lisa. Most warrior cultures teach strength and obedience. You teach wisdom and choice. Humans learn the hard way, Lisa explained. We spent thousands of years fighting each other. We learned that the strongest warrior is not the one who wins every fight. It is the one who knows when to fight and when to find another way. And you believe this can work for other species? I believe every species benefits from understanding their purpose, Lisa said. These Cubs are not learning to be killers. They are learning to be protectors. That is a universal concept. 6 months after she first woke to tiny teeth tugging her hair, Lisa stood in the training yard watching 20 Cubs practice defensive formations. Kiva led one group, demonstrating how to protect vulnerable positions, taught another group about tactical thinking. Dax worked with the youngest Cubs, showing them how to stay calm under pressure. They had grown so much, not just in skill but in understanding. Grandfather joined Lisa at the observation platform. You have done something remarkable, he said. You have given my people hope. I just shared what my grandfather taught me, Lisa said. That strength without wisdom is just violence, that the best warriors are the ones who come home, that protecting something means understanding its value. The cubs speak of you the way you speak of your grandfather, observed. You have become to them what he was to you. Lisa felt her throat tighten with emotion. She watched Kiva help a smaller cub with her stance, patient and encouraging. She saw explain a complex concept using a simple example. She saw Dax comfort a cub who had made a mistake, teaching him that failure was part of learning. They are teaching each other now, Lisa said. That is how it should be. I am just the one who showed them a different way to think about being warriors. A message alert chimed on her communicator. Lisa checked it and smiled. What is it? Asked. Message from Human Command, Lisa said. They are sending a delegation to study the training program. They think it might benefit human military academies too. Apparently, we could use more emphasis on protection over aggression. Will you return to human space? Asked. Lisa looked at the cubs again. Kiva caught her eye and waved, her small face bright with pride at leading her group, called out a question about tactical scenarios. Dax was making the younger cubs laugh with a story. Not yet, Lisa said. These cubs still need me, and I still have so much to learn from them. That evening, Lisa gathered her original 3 cubs in the den chamber that had become their home. They curled up around her like they did every night, their warm bodies pressed close. Tell us a story, Dax requested sleepily. What kind of story? Lisa asked. Tell us about Earth, Kiva said, about the warriors who chose peace. So Lisa told them about her grandfather one more time, about a soldier who saw too much war and decided to teach peace instead, about a man who was strong enough to fight but wise enough to choose compassion, about someone who understood that the best legacy was not in battles won, but in lives protected and wisdom passed on. The cubs fell asleep listening, their small teeth no longer tugging her hair in playful aggression, but resting gently against her in complete trust. Lisa stayed awake a while longer watching them sleep. She thought about the path that led her here. A ship malfunction, a desperate rescue, 3 orphaned cubs who chose her for reasons she still didn't fully understand. She had been terrified at first, convinced she would fail, certain she wasn't qualified. But the cubs had taught her something important. You did not need to be perfect to make a difference. You just needed to care enough to try, to think carefully about what you were teaching and why it mattered, to understand that strength came in many forms, and sometimes the greatest strength was knowing when to extend a hand instead of raising a fist. The galaxy was watching now. Other species were asking about the human training methods. They were changing, slowly but surely, into something better than what they had been. And it all started because 3 small cubs woke a sleeping human by tugging her hair with their tiny teeth and declaring she had finally arrived for training. Lisa smiled and closed her eyes, letting the warmth and trust of the cubs around her fill her with peace. She had arrived for training indeed, but in the end, the cubs had trained her just as much as she had trained them. They taught her about courage, about purpose, about what it meant to protect something you loved. And that, she thought as she drifted off to sleep, was the most important lesson of all. Lisa felt tears prick her eyes. Yes, that is exactly right. That is what I wanted you to learn. Above them, the battle was turning. The forces were pushing the pirates back. The transports would survive. The refugees would live. And 3 small cubs had learned the most important lesson of all, that the strongest warriors are the ones who understand what they are protecting and why it matters. You are strong, Lisa said. You showed that today, but strength isn't just about fighting. It is about knowing when to fight and how to fight smart. You 3 proved you can work together. You proved you can follow a plan. That is real warrior skill. Will you teach us more? Asked. Yes, Lisa said, but you have to promise me something. No more sneaking off. No more trying to prove yourselves by taking foolish risks. Real warriors protect each other. That means protecting yourselves too. We promise, all 3 said. Lisa looked at their earnest faces and hoped they meant it, because she had a feeling this was just the beginning. The refugee convoy was still under attack. They was still heading into battle. And somehow she had 3 young cubs who were determined to be warriors, whether she was ready for that or not. Right things. You are teaching them to think, said. That is more than any trainer has done in generations. Keep going, Lisa Morgan. My people need what you are showing these cubs. After he left, Lisa looked down at the 3 small aliens who had chosen her for reasons she still didn't fully understand. They were starting to trust her, starting to learn. She just hoped it would be enough when the real tests came. Legs and tugging at her uniform with their tiny teeth, she reached down and carefully touched Kiva's soft fur. The cub pressed into her hand, purring like an earth cat. "All right," Lisa said, more to herself than anyone else. "Let's see what we can figure out together." She had no idea what she was doing, but looking at the hope in those golden eyes, she knew she had to try.